Today we have on test possibly the destroyers of the old era and new monsters. Of the hi-fi industry, vocês animam ready to tear apart even the notorious vintage, to fight to the death with top manufacturers like Marantz, Rotel and Net, and the like. Explain to me, dear lovers of antiquity as well as fans of brands like Arkham or Denon, what can you oppose to them? Please write in the comments which similar components are better for approximately the same money, considering that you get a new product with guaranteed reliable operation for, well, at least a few years and maybe more. Well, come on, only reasonable examples, not like I found a Sansui from 76 in perfect condition on Avito for 50,000 rubles. And it's the best in the world sitting in my rack. And oh, how it pleases me. Be sure to watch the video until the end, and we'll take a look inside these mastodons. And at the end, we'll also deliver verdicts. Naturally, honestly, after figuring out whether it's worth overpaying for Euro labels, or maybe, it's easier to look for something old vintage on the hi-fi market. Or perhaps we should pay attention to the new wave of premium equipment from China. Like, subscribe, comment. I would be grateful. The first thought that comes to my mind when I look at this amplifier and processor, cool, expensive, fundamental, I would even say epic. And if it weren't for the ToneWinner badge on the front, I could easily mistake this equipment for some Class C Macintosh or Plinius. If we don't touch on the specifications, and they command respect, I would rate the design a solid 9. And when I find out how much they cost, namely 180k for this Mr. Pointer, and 160 for Mr. Versatility. Seeing these prices, I am surprised and realize that not all is lost in our world, and it's not at all necessary to invest several million in a home theater or stereo system to get brutal stylish devices that also play magnificently. Understand me correctly, I am not a fan of the Chinese. My car is German. My home system was assembled a long time ago, and it is exclusively American-Canadian, English. But I am honest with myself and don't want to deceive anyone, especially my subscribers. ToneWinner has been on the market for over 30 years and they have a multitude of patents, an engineering base, strong funding and access to technologies. And judging by the price tag, they are very, very aggressive and determined to completely outdo their competitors. Because I am terrified to imagine what will happen in our market in 10 years if the trend continues. And we will be getting amplifiers of this class for such money when the analogs cost significantly more. In fact, we have a fully balanced device, the Pro version, so the power is even higher than in the regular one, and in class AB, it is as much as 570 watts at 8 ohms and almost a kilowatt at 4 ohms. All of this goodness, in this case which weighs almost 24 kilograms. Or maybe it's all nonsense? What if we open them up and inside it's like a Hegel with chaotic wiring where even the devil would break his leg? There's still a chance that the communists, as often depicted in Western films like the series or Chernobyl, will mess up the process and do everything poorly. Maybe, at least here, the haters and vintage enthusiasts might get lucky. But no, they won't mess it up. But still, let's open it up and see for ourselves. A Chinese person is opening up a Chinese product. Let's open it. By the way, the lid consists of 2 parts. Wow, a huge pot. Yes, not just a huge pot, it's a whole pot where you can cook something like stew or dumplings without rushing. Look, friends, 180,000 rubles, and you have a huge toroid here. Everything is organized, everything is beautiful. Large capacitors, the circuit, the technology, the fins, look at them. It's a detail. Details, I always pay attention to them. You see, they are not ordinary, but have these little ridges that dissipate heat better. Why is everything made so well and inexpensively considering we have a real label? A 30-year-old label, ToneWinner. Maybe it should have been turned off before hiding it? What do you think? Please write in the comments. Each of these capacitors has a capacity of 10,000. In total, we have 8 of them here. It turns out 80,000. The engineers at ToneWinner, by the way, said that the point is not to install, large capacities. And many of these capacitors, but to make everything as harmonious as possible, because you can complicate anything. That's not the question. The question is to achieve harmony, maximum purity, simplicity. After all, as they used to say, everything genius is simple. Here I see that everything is simple and probably genius because it all sounds great. Well, if its price were $1 million, then probably, yes, it wouldn't be genius. That would be just normal. But when the price is less than 200,000, it's frustrating, friends, that in my favorite Briston, which costs $1 million now, the Thor is not separated. But here we have protection. Well, why? Why is it like this, friends? But in defense of the Canadians, I'll say that there are 2 transformers stacked on top of each other there. And here there is only one, but it's very, very large. It would even be interesting, probably, to compare them. To put them on the scales. This one and 2 Bristons. How it would all be. By the way, this transformer is made by us. How do you like the label? Good? Does it reduce trust? Please write in the comments. Well, now the processor. What does the light conceal? There is such a movie, I recommend watching it. But for us, what does the tone of Wiener conceal? Namely, the processor. Also, you could say, a feature film. What does it conceal? Well, here, of course, everything is much simpler. But we have a processor, not a power amplifier. As you can see, it works, and I am taking a risk for you, dear friends, subscribers. Just not fans of mine. Such people are also encountered. See what sacrifices, all for the sake of the great hi-fi. Beloved, dear, cherished. What do I not like here? And it happens that often there are things I don't like. Namely very large empty spaces. Still, I believe they should have been occupied with something. Well, because it somehow looks a bit strange. On the other hand, I return to the saying that all genius is simple. And here, as we can see, everything is painfully simplified, but maybe because of this, everything will play as neutrally, well, and unadorned as possible. It seems like a partition is needed here to separate the power supply, but there isn't one, because everything here is impulse-based, digital, although it does create quite strong interference. What the ToneWinner engineers intended, I don't know, so I definitely won't teach them, but since they decided this way, it must be alright. I'll say this processor, it can really be used as a high-quality preamplifier. Yes, friends. So this is not only a component of your home theater, but if you want to have a stereo system, a universal stereo system, you can definitely use it. This 2-channel amplifier, which can later be converted to mono, take this processor, add 2 acoustic systems to it, and you'll be happy. And then continue to expand by adding more amplifiers. And enjoyment, of course, naturally speakers, and we end up with a full-fledged home theater that also plays stereo very well and seriously. Because, well, this thing, it just can't play poorly, it just can't perform poorly, honestly, because I really connected this system truly to FMQ series, R series. I connected it to the top bowers, D4802, T4802, and it powered them. Yes, not with ease, but my goodness, Bauer speakers, they cost around 3-4 million. This thing cost less than 200,000. And it was, well, not at the same level, but close to it. Judge for yourselves, friends. And finally, I'll say that I scoured American forums where owners write, "This is the tone of Wiener." And naturally, there's also a lot of skepticism. But at the same time, people who bought this equipment are very satisfied. There are those who have been using it for several years, and they invite their friends over to prove that the system... People feel a bit deceived, having received a great product for minimal money, but I believe in the USA it costs somewhere around $1,300 to $1,500. But in principle, it's the same reasonable price as we have here, give or take. So, friends, you see, Americans are somewhat like us, the same people with the same emotions, the same fears, but there's no need to be afraid. You need to try and trust the professionals. To finish, I want to recall a scene from the movie Apocalypto, directed by Mel Gibson. Remember, at the very end, the conquistadors arrive, and the indigenous people probably understand, or maybe they don't, that everything in their lives is about to change. It's the same here with us, friends. I look at these guys who are coming to us and realize that whether we like it or not, the world is changing just a little. Now there will be different laws, different rules, and the old world, in the form of the same Europeans, Japanese, Americans with their brands. They will have to make room. Also, I remind you, friends, what am I doing? First-class home theaters, projects, serious, expensive, budget-friendly, everything. We'll decide, set everything up, connect everything, develop it. And, of course, you will be satisfied. So, reach out to me. Link below.